there, and then I'm going to go into some other things.
So, MELAS is all capital letters. It stands for mitochondrial myopathy, encephalopathy, lactic acidosis, stroke-like episode. So, in general sense, what it is it's a rare disorder that begins in childhood, usually between 2 to 15 years of age, and most affects the nervous systems and muscles. This is just read off the rare disease website. The most common early symptoms are seizures, recurrent headaches, loss of appetite, and recurrent vomiting. Stroke-like episodes with temporary muscle weakness on one side of the body may also occur, and this can lead to altered consciousness, vision and hearing loss, loss of motor skills, intellectual disability. So that pretty much sums up MELAS as a whole, not necessarily the 3243 that Lisa has. And the reason it's 3243 is that she has not experienced the stroke-like symptoms. Otherwise, she would have full-on MELAS as it's described.
So, as some of our viewers know, some of our viewers don't know, is that I have had, when we moved to Colorado, I had one morning I woke up and I couldn't hear anything at all. And so I actually wear these little crazy devices. They're called hearing aids. A lot of people don't know I wear these because I'm not real I have a hearing aid in. So anyway, I'm going to put it back in because it's easier for me to hear and I don't scream as much, because my family used to say all you do is scream, and I never understood why I screamed, because obviously my disorder, which I found out in my 40s that I have, has been affecting me for many, many years. So in that, I got pregnant with Ava, and I was in the middle of my pregnancy, not even the middle of my pregnancy, and I was in the hospital, woke up one morning and couldn't see the clock, and I kept saying, I can't see the clock, and they kept trying to tell me that I was in labor, but I wasn't in labor. Well, I was, but I wasn't. That wasn't the cause of my vision issues. My cause of my vision issues was considered mitochondrial diabetes, but they classified it as type 1, which then took me into needing insulin for managing my symptoms, because my body wasn't breaking down the insulin that my body was making. So when I got diagnosed, I had no C-peptides and I had antibodies, which meant type 1. Come to find out, I don't have type 1. I have mitochondrial diabetes. So that is where this gets really complicated, because my doctor has been pushing me to try to find out what the cause of my diabetes is, that I am producing C-peptides in the normal spectrum. So when you say normal spectrum, it's like I'm right on the border sometimes of too much insulin producing and right on the border of not producing enough. So they don't really know how to treat that very commonly. So that's what I'm going to say. Mitochondrial diabetes basically means my pancreas is working, my body is not using that insulin correctly. I am not a type 2 and I am not a type 1. I am not a MODY, which is a modified onset diabetes candidate. So I am actually a mitochondrial diabetes, quote unquote. I do believe that through that we can find better treatments and better options. One thing that got me very upset last week when I was in the doctor's was that he wanted to jolt my daily routine from very rigid, working, great routine to, here, we're going to turn it upside down and stick it in a pot and we're going to throw it away. That's basically what he kind of described to me, which was very scary, because a lot of you don't know what this is, but this is an insulin pump. I've been wearing the Omnipod for 3 years and it's been working. I haven't needed a lot of insulin. When I get too high, I can correct. When I don't need it, I just let my day go as it goes and I get my insulin that I need. Well, come to find out, my body's been storing insulin that it's not using. So that's when my doctor was like, hey, you have mitochondrial diabetes. His bedside manner can somewhat suck, to be honest, but he's a great doctor. So it's kind of hard to deal with him when you're emotional. And so he asked me if I'd been using my Dexcom. I said no, because I can't afford it. So then he presented another option to me, which is a whole other thing we'll talk about in another video. But this actually is very interesting because he sent me home with this little tiny pill and said, I want you to take a half tablet of this pill that I'm going to give you, and I want you to take one in the morning, and then if the next day your blood sugar is over 180, you're going to take a full tablet, but keep your temp basal at 60% decreased. And I'm like, oh crap, I got to keep track of another thing. So of course I've been really, really diligent over the last 5 days to do this like 60% decrease every 12 hours on my pump and make it happen. And it's been chaos because honestly, like, there's times I forget, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours and I'm getting full insulin, and I'm just like, and then I'm lowing. So it's been kind of crummy feeling, but I've been kind of happy because these little tiny pills inside this bottle here, today was my first day to actually not use my pump. So I am actually pumpless and Dexcomless, which it's a CGM, and I'm completely have nothing on my body. It was kind of crazy to take a shower today and like have nothing to wash around and be super careful around. So it was very relieving. I am going to be getting a different CGM, which I'll talk about further in another video. So what I want to say about mitochondrial diabetes is that just because my body is producing insulin, it's not using the insulin. So this is, I guess, what he's explaining to me is this is like a type 2 diabetes medication, but it doesn't work on every type 2. So this is something I've been trying. Day one, I'm actually going to ask Josh to go get my pump, and I'm going to take my, and my finger pricking stuff so I can take my vitals, because I think it's going to be interesting to know that I ate Taco Bell today. I had a soda, like an actual Coca-Cola soda, and then tonight I ate, trying to think, what did I eat tonight? Why am I drawing a blank?
It's clam chowder.
Oh, I had clam chowder and french fries. So we'll see what my blood sugar is after clam chowder and french fries. And I had an iced tea. It's in my purse. And then, so it'll be interesting to see how that truly affects, like, my overall blood sugar. Because in the morning I had a biscuit and I had iced tea. And so I've eaten really healthy today. I've had sunflower seeds, and I did have some red hot tamales. So, the candies. Those are kind of my weakness. So just, you all know. But yeah, so I'm going to actually take, this is my pump, and it's turned off. My insulin pump is turned off. So right now it says, sorry, I don't know if everybody can see that, but it says that, do you have an active pump? I'm going to say no, because I don't have an active pod, but I can still take my insulin with this device, which if that happens, I will have to get a different meter, but I can get one from over the counter, which is kind of cool. So this video is a little bit longer, and I do apologize, but I think it's well worth you guys understanding how it's going to affect everything. So, it's just a simple, and then you just draw some blood, and then you take it through the meter, and of course my meter is working here. So let's see, you're all going to see it in live time with me. So right now I'm 194, and I'm going to go to bed on 194, not give myself any insulin. I am going to wake up in the morning, and hopefully I will not be above 180. Because if I am above 180, then I have to call the doctor's office, because this will be my second day on this medication as a full tab. So they'll probably tell me to take 1.5. But I'm not sure what they're going to tell me, so we'll see. But if you guys have questions about mitochondrial diabetes or mitochondrial disabilities in general, they are complicated. I can tell you that I feel super blessed to have gotten the referral from Dr. Shaw to Dr. Larson's team. I have seen a cardiologist, so I have eliminated that my heart is failing right now. That doesn't mean it couldn't do something random down the road, or that my kidneys could do random things, liver could do random things. But I do have to say that today was a day again where my hearing went completely out in my left ear for about 3 hours, and it was very complicated because when you've got people in your home and they're dealing with your kids and you're dealing with your kids, it's very hard when you can only hear out of one ear. So, on the positive note, I can't wait to give you guys a update on how my blood sugar's been doing after the next few days. I probably won't record every day of my journey, but hopefully we can get to a place where I don't have to take insulin, which my bottle of insulin, because of my allergies, is $343 for one bottle for 1 month. And then on top of that, these pods cost us, I don't even remember how much a box of pods cost us anymore. They're like 500 and something dollars for a month of pods. So, if you add that up, it's like over $1,000 a month almost. That just in that's not including my test strips. So if we can get to where all I need is test strips and a medication, we could end up going full timing a lot quicker, because we're not going to have this complex medical insurance that we were thinking we were going to have. We'll still have to have some stuff for the girls, but it will be interesting because we will be watching Ava to make sure that she doesn't go into mitochondrial diabetes completely. If she does, Dr. Shaw has already agreed that she needs to be seen by the Barbara Davis Center in Denver. So if anybody knows anything about Denver and there's Barbara Davis Center, it is the top-notch research and development for diabetes. So I am so lucky to be there.
So since we talked about Ava, and the reason why we have to take Ava in consideration is that the mitochondrial disease is something that is hereditary. It's passed down from mother to child. So we did get Ava's results last week, and so it's something that we need to be proactive about. We know that it's going to impact her, probably more so than Lisa. So we just have to be aware. We have to start getting things in place, and also just start getting some of the tests and everything that Lisa's doing right now in place for her as well, so that we can make sure that she is as healthy as possible. One of the things that we did not mention earlier on with this mitochondrial is how it makes a person fatigued and weak. So just some back history with Ava. We had her running cross country last year. She did 2 miles, never had any signs of exhaustion or anything else. And then did the track this year, 800 meter, and she was just like she hit a wall in the second lap of doing the 800. So that's just how quickly this onset for her, and that's why we need to just kind of be on our guard as far as what we need to do. Doesn't mean you can't exercise. It's just you have to change the way that you do exercise. You have to ease yourself in. You have to do things that are not as long distance endurance type things, but more just kind of concentrated, lots of breaks, things along those lines, until you can build yourself up to having a little bit more of an endurance type of training.
Right. And so, like with mitochondrial, how it's affecting me with exercise is, and I haven't really tried to push myself probably in the last 2 weeks, but I was trying to help Gracelyn with her running stuff, or with her cycling. So with her cycling club, I would actually take and like run beside her, jog beside her. I guess it was more jogging because she's not very fast, but jogging beside her. And by the time I got around 1 lap, I was like already feeling nauseated and horrible. And then I would take her bike around a lap to kind of like encourage her, you can do it on your bike. And by the time I got around the second lap, I was already getting to the place where I just couldn't hold down it much, as far as I felt like just the air coming into my face was enough to just really make me sick. And then, so I would stop, I would get myself calm, thinking I was okay, and then I would start walking like from the track to the car, which isn't very far, and everything I'd eaten that day basically didn't digest. And so that's another issue that is to face us is, do we have to watch what we eat and how we eat and everything like that? So, and we also believe that with doing the right things, we can reverse some of the signs of mitochondrial coming on sooner. So, mitochondrial diabetes is one of my biggest headaches and biggest hurdles, because as a type 1, I had accepted that I would always be insulin dependent. And then I found out that I produce so much insulin, but my body does nothing but let it sit. So it's like taking a cup of water and never changing that water out. Like it just sits there in its reservoir and then you never get rid of it. So if you can imagine having a reservoir of water in your body and it just keeps building up, sooner or later you start feeling crummy because you've got too much insulin or too much water. So it's basically the same type of I guess, way to explain it. So we're hoping with this that we'll be able to get enough stuff and get a headway on it. And as we journey through this little life that we know that we I don't know the right word, we really, really want to live, we can't live it with diabetes the way it treats me, because on an insulin dependent family, we're talking thousands of dollars a month that we cannot afford unless we have some miracle fund coming in every month that we, like it's like water, just like money's just gonna have to come this way at us while we're like enjoying life and doing what we're supposed to be doing and moving from place to place and living life the way God wants us. So make sure to share this, because I know there's got to be other people that really need to know about mitochondrial disabilities and diseases and understand that not everything that's wrong with them is in their head, because that's what I thought for years. It was just in my head. I've just got a headache. Oh, it's just in my head. I'm losing my appetite all the time. Oh, I feel like I'm super hungry and I'd be eating all the time. And then I would feel like so crappy after I ate, which never made sense to me, because I'm like, okay, I haven't eaten for 3 days and now I want to eat. And then, so there's so many things that mitochondrial disabilities can do. They can weaken a person's neuromuscular system. Like my knees, I've always had problems with them ever since I was in middle school. Never understood why they didn't heal. Come to find out, a lot of that is probably all related. So, I know I've got you guys almost on 20 minutes, but I really think that it is important for people with diabetes that cannot manage it to find out if it is mitochondrial. And then if you have other symptoms and you can't find it, it's not making sense. Don't sit back and not go to the doctors and get the test run, because honestly, there might be so many things they can help you do to better your life by just finding out. Like, you can find out ways to heal it. You can find out, like, I've been doing a lot of like playing Christian music and like positive music into my ears, like on a very like concentrated level. I've been really making sure that I'm positive about my thinking and how I deal with things, and taking the crumb out of my life. Some of that being having to kind of push some things to the side and say it's okay to be about me right now. Like, one of my biggest incidences that I've been dealing with, or examples I can tell you that I've been dealing with, is like, if I don't feel good, not saying to myself, I just have to keep pushing on because I can be okay, because really that just ends up making it worse. So, yeah, I hope that helps some people, and I hope you guys share this, because I really do want it to be publicly shared. Subscribe to our posts, because on YouTube.
Subscribe to what again?
Our channel, sorry, not our post. Anyway, our channel, because there'll be things that Josh will talk about individually and how this affects him too, because I know that it affects him in ways that it doesn't affect me, and it doesn't affect Ava, and doesn't affect Grace. But yeah, so today's about mitochondrial diabetes and mitochondrial disabilities, and I just pray that you guys can all find strength in whatever you're dealing with, because it's not easy. And there's times that I think Josh gets the blunt of it, because I'm like frustrated and he's easy to take it out on, even though that's not fair to him. So I'm sorry, babe. So
I'm offended.
he'll take it. All right. So I'm going to let you guys go. Well, hope you have a good night.